Folkland. Join us or compete with us. Watch or die. You have 24 hours
to comply. I would finish your rhyme there.
And this is a bear. Hey, bear.
Hey, bear.
Please bear with us, folks, as JC has fallen into a turkey coma.
She is dead. And we're very sad, but we've replaced her quite easily.
With a wild animal, but a very refined one who wears a tie.
If you introduce me, I can take this ridiculous thing off.
Oh, sorry. Drum roll, Brandi. Today's guest is the one, the only, the Oracle, Eric T. Peterson! Okay, now we got to keep this energy going. This whole time, we got to keep it going. So don't let it die.
It's going to be hard when we talk
about soccer. Soccer! You know? Like Hidden Women? Okay.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe we should start with the rundown. Maybe that'll perk things up.
All right. Let's get that rundown going, guys. Happy Nateland, folks! On episode 125 of Nateland, the World Cup, Phil was hungry. Hopefully somebody fed him. Nate was really mad about some sports stuff. Aaron almost hops out of his seat. Whoa, bear. Brian gets booted to the back of the plane with the rest of Leanne's fans. And Dusty Slay's traveling troubles were made right by an empathetic folk. Thanks, Alex. The boys ramble about soccer and the great debate of who's hotter, Cristiano Ronaldo or Ken.
You know, I forgot to ask you, Eric. Would you mind doing a review of this podcast while we're recording this podcast and you're on it?
You're just giving me an assignment, so I'm too busy to interact? Is that right?
No, I one, expect you to contribute a lot, and then two, expect the review in real time. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see. I don't think you understand the science that goes into my reviews. But I have a thought. When I do review this, I've got two choices. I can review it from the inside as a participant, but I thought it would be a lot more fun if I review it in the third person. As if I don't know this guy, let me critique everything he says, and very, very harshly.
Oh no!
What if
we would never want that for our Eric T. Peterson?
He can take it.
What if there's a third option?
Lay it on me.
You review in real time by saying no, Jen, that wasn't funny, or yes, hilarious, ha 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 ha. And you also write your review in the third person, so you've got extra homework, basically, like summer school.
JW is insistent on me writing a review. How obnoxious!
I almost spit this everywhere.
I'll do what I can. I'll do my best.
I look forward to when you post the reviews so that we can read it. I really do. So.
They're my favorite things.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if it's because it's about me or what were you going to say, Eric?
In the old Folkland, you always read my reviews. In the new Folkland, it's hit or miss.
Well, that's the thing with the old Folkland. I think I had a lot more autonomy. In this new Folkland, like Newfoundland, new Folkland, it's a lot more collaborative. So I get the input of the lady folks, and it's very good, I think. But
and they're against it, for the record.
No one's ever publicly made that statement.
You did maybe make it sound like that.
I said for this one, what was the beep?
Is that your
my clock. Now, this is very sweet. My grandmother gave me that clock, and she passed away last March. And every time I hear that chime, I think of my dear old grandmother. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
I just made that up. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh!
No, she did give me the clock. She really did give me the clock.
But she's still alive?
No, she's dead.
Oh.
It's a roller coaster of emotions that I'm on right now.
She was not
I did have
a good life.
I did
feel
have a
like
thought.
I'm watching the Weird Al movie again.
Weird Al could play you in the movie of your life, Eric. I could see that. Well, isn't he dead now? Did he die?
Right.
Did he?
Gallagher did.
That,
You know.
they look the same, okay? All right. Anyway, I was going to say, I did have a thought. I wanted to see if you would want to read your last review of Folkland for this episode, because I would love to hear in your own voice your own review.
I would love to, but the only access I have to it is on my phone that is currently filming me.
Well, the good news is there is a chat feature on this, and I can put it in the chat for you if you want to get fancy.
Let's try it.
All right, Brandi, why don't you start with the first comment while I try to finagle this?
All right, folks, let's look at some comments. Jeffrey Shellquist says, amazingly, they managed to know less about the World Cup and soccer than they did about physics. I love these guys.
It's true.
Well, I think that they knew a lot more about soccer and the World Cup than I do. So,
yeah, are you a big soccer guy, Eric?
I'm not, but I come from a soccer family. I did play 6 years as a child. My father coached. My older brother and my younger brother both played soccer. My older brother tried out for a semi-professional team, did very well. Then he broke his ankle. That ended his soccer career.
Thanks.
But there was one season that my brother and I were on the same team with our dad as coach, and we were undefeated.
ooh,
Huh.
And I got my opportunity to try to kick a goal the first time and only time in my life, and I kicked at the wrong goal.
Oh, that's gotta hurt, folks.
The pressure was on.
Yeah.
The pressure was too much for Eric.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I have it in the chat when you are ready, if you can pull it up.
Okay.
I pull it up?
Yeah.
Chat.
Crash course.
Chat window.
Chat window.
I don't know how it looks on the phone.
Yeah, I don't know how it looks on your phone because I'm on a laptop.
It's okay. I can just read it and you can give me feedback on reading it, you know? All right. Folkland podcast review number 18. This was our last episode, right? Scandals and Animals. I can't keep track.
Sounds right.
First, an Elvis rundown, mama. An Oregon burn, roasted, followed by an ETP shout out. I did a U-turn to rewind to listen again. Folkland is famous. Well, maybe not every host. Yeah, that was a nice comment, Eric. Graceland, this is great. I can tell you what I think. I can give you a review of your review in real time.
I'm getting that.
Graceland. I had an experience in the parking lot. Story at 11. Oh, we love that story. But it's only 10. Aliens and hay bears, followed by a hey bear mama moment. Lottery winning plans are shared, as are riveting fingernail and Nate's dad commentary, followed by some quick breakfast bites. Salty the Singing Songbook. When I was 6 or 8, our church holiday program was Salty's Christmas Calamity, starring my dad as Salty, wearing a costume he made himself. The climax of the show was a singing trio of Dad, myself, and my older brother. Probably my first time ever singing in public, not counting school chorus or Sunday school choir. Finally, Deer Tales or Deer's Tales. And the cars that are drawn to them. A big takeaway for me from this episode is the importance of being mindful about your backgrounds. Nice door, Jen. Well, do you see what I did for you today, Eric?
Lovely, lovely.
I stepped it up a notch.
I need to see what's on Brandy's board there. Okay, I'm wearing the wrong glasses. I can't read.
It says, JC is out, so I put up a sign. Also, soccer makes me...
Hey, speaking of sign,
That's how I read that.
JC's sign, check this out.
For Pete's sake!
Ooh.
Is this like your man cave you're in?
I don't call it that. This is the basement bar, for Pete's sake.
It's much
For
more...
Pete's sake is the name of it. I like that.
For Pete's sake.
Much more dignified.
Which is also the spelling of sake, so it has that bar connection.
Ah. It's double meaning.
For Pete's sake.
Little wordsmithing.
All right, I loved this comment. It was in the Facebook group from Jared Brown. He said, I'm listening now. I think the perfect name for someone on a food show would be Phil Fuller. I figured the guys would get there, but they didn't. I was thinking the same thing when I listened. Phil Fuller. You feel fuller? Phil Fuller?
Yeah.
You know? No? All right.
It is.
John Novak. Watching Aaron lose it every time Dusty reads the advertisement reminds me of when I was in high school and laughing at friends reading aloud in class. I'd say that's accurate.
Agreed.
Oh, and according to Daniel Cutrer, if anyone's interested, the fines for rushing the field go towards the SEC Scholarship Fund.
I did see that. I saw that.
What was really funny is an hour later he commented and said, okay, I guess no one was interested.
Yeah. I feel that way sometimes with my comments. Hey, you know, one thing Brian said this week was how he reads every comment.
Every comment.
And so I guess I've just been getting the shaft. Because
a lot of people have been getting the shaft, Brandi. Don't take it personally.
I stopped commenting because now I just say all my comments on here on Folkland.
Right. That happened to me when I started. Although I will say there was one time when I bribed Brian to read a comment. And we discussed this, Brandi.
Yeah.
I asked you because I told him I will buy a cameo from you if you read this on air. And that was my last comment that was read about duct tape. And then after the drugs wore off from my surgery, I messaged Brandi and JC and I was like, do you think I really have to do that? Because I said it and they were like, you should always keep your word. So I did. Yeah. And that's how you can get comments read, people. Bribery. Bribery baits.
I comment, on the Facebook page a lot, but if I have something really specific, I always email it. And I always get a thank you, Eric, and I read it in Brian's voice. So it is comforting to imagine that actually is him. But I acknowledged initially that it would be seen by Brian or Cole. So I'm glad it's Brian.
Yeah. I loved when Brian talks about how he's emailing back and forth as Nate to people. Yeah. And they're like, man, you should really lighten up on, bran flakes. And they're like roasting him to him, but also defending him. So that's got to be a good feeling for Brian, I think.
Absolutely.
Yes, to keep up the facade.
Okay, so folks, the soccer episode, World Cup.
All right, I will say right now, Brian talked about in...
You don't want to say it later?
I am going to say it right now. I'm going to get it out here at the beginning.
Okay.
Brian mentioned when he was growing up, there was no soccer team.
Because it was before soccer was invented.
Crazy. It seemed crazy to Aaron because that was what he had known. And there definitely was no soccer team when I was growing up, nor is there now in my hometown, nor is there a football team in my hometown to this day. I grew up without both of those. I grew up in a very small town. Some of the neighboring communities, they had football, but none of those high schools, all very small, very rural communities, no soccer in high school. You get into maybe the town I live in now, they might have a high school soccer, but it's off my radar because I didn't grow up with it. And that's my story with soccer.
What do people do instead of play sports?
Oh, we play baseball. We get some baseball played.
Yeah.
Where I came from. We play it and we're good at it. And we also roller skate. That's what we did on Friday nights. A lot of roller skating going on.
Nice.
And we would go what they call muddin'. There's no G at the end. There's a muddin'. You drive your trucks in the mud. Mm-hmm. A lot of that.
Yeah. People did that where I'm from too.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of baseball, earlier tonight for Thanksgiving, I don't know if you guys want to share what you did, but I went to a house where we made gingerbread houses in a contest, and I brought some sparkling cider, and I was all prepared to shake it up like I'd won the World Series and douse the room. But I only came in third place, so did you guys do anything special for Thanksgiving?
I did. Earlier today, I acted as master of ceremonies at the family dinner at the long-term care facility where I work. Very special because we haven't been able to do it for the last 2.5 years. So we had about residents and family included maybe 60 people, and
Oh wow!
I helped serve the dinner and kind of glad-handed around the room and read. They all wrote out what they're thankful for, and I went up front and read to everybody, and then went to my in-laws and had a lovely dinner.
Were there any funny things they said they were thankful for?
No, a lot of family and friends, a lot of thankful that they were able to get together again. One person was thankful for Iowa football. Great, wonderful.
What's Iowa's football team?
Hawkeyes.
It's college.
Oh, they don't have a big time team, NFL team?
No, the Iowa Hawkeyes are successful enough that we've decided we don't need one.
That's a good feeling. We like that.
Yeah.
You know what else they don't have is they don't have baseball, but they would like to be able to watch it.
We have the Field of Dreams.
I know. There's a big debacle because of the blackouts there. That's what I'm saying. People in Iowa, all of the games get blacked out there. They're blacked out of like 9 teams. It's a bunch of hogwash. And the Field of Dreams, it is on my list where to go next. We just went to Cooperstown this summer, and that right there is on my list, Eric T. Peterson.
Gotcha. I was unaware about the blackouts, but I will look into it.
You were unaware of your own town's blackouts.
Yeah, when they publicized the big Field of Dreams game, not this past year, but the one before, the one that got all the ratings.
Yeah.
They had the big billboards up that's, speaking to the commissioner like, hey, the Iowans would like to watch some baseball, commish.
I watched both of those games and had no issues whatsoever.
Well, those were broadcast on Fox. But if you want to watch regular MLB games in Iowa, you run into some trubs.
Okay. Well,
this is about as interesting as the World Cup episode, guys. People are watching this.
Okay.
They are watching in Iowa, right, Eric?
I went on the Facebook group. I was trying to find if it would tell me when I joined, and I found a place where I could see other. There are 3 people that I have friends in common with that are in the group. And I saw 3 or 4 that were in Des Moines, and it said, click to view more, and I didn't.
And I did not view more.
I was deep in preparations for this. As you can see, I'm very prepared.
As Nate would say, it's nice to ruin people's dreams.
He did say that, in fact. Not only would he, but he did.
I just want to skip to the good stuff here, folks.
All right, let's do it. 24
minutes and 37 seconds in, Aaron almost falls out of his seat, and I rewound it 75 times. I took a U-turn. That's a good impression, Brandi. I mean, I'm gonna probably go into YouTube and cut a clip that I can loop where he just does it over and over and over.
Make a GIF.
Yeah. How do I do that? I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out.
Open
my
AI
Christmas present.
Playground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things early in the episode, I think it was during the comments. I didn't get the timestamp. But Nate pulls out his Fiji water. And I love it. It was like his old classic hammock joke. He doesn't want all the folks to think that he's getting too big in his celebridom. Like, he doesn't want you to think that he's too fancy getting a hammock or drinking Fiji water.
I think it was more so he was, like, annoyed that this is his life. Because he said, if Laura won $1 billion, she would still do this. She would take.
I love you, Laura Bargatze. I love you. You're my kind of people.
A ketchup bottle.
I love it.
And he'd be like, "What kind of ketchup is this?" Well, it says Heinz, but she's squeezing McDonald's packets into the bottle. I also love when they ask him, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And he says, "Laura knows the plans," and it just sounded like, "For I know the plans I have for you." Laura knows the plans she has for me. You know. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
I loved the refilled water bottle, though. I didn't want to let that go by without mentioning it.
So, Big Bucks Bates was a good feature on this episode.
Yeah.
If Brian won the lottery, he'd wear a top hat and a monocle.
Insufferable he would be. Insufferable.
Fur coat.
Yeah.
I love when Dusty said he would be like, "Who's breakfast now?"
Moved on up to brunch, baby.
Yeah. I feel like he would just show up random places where fans are who have made jokes about him. And he'd just be like, "Well, here I am. Say it to my face," you know? Or he'd show up and he'd be like, "Eric T. Peterson, who lives at 428 Quakers Avenue. You come to this booth every Tuesday night, order a omelet and hash browns and coffee." Like he'd know all this stuff about you.
Right. I think my biggest laugh, and they didn't really touch on it too much. They were talking about mischievous versus mischievous, and then a minute later, the word envious comes up, and Nate just says, "Envious," and then they just
quick wit.
Yeah,
I love it.
And the fact that Aaron never gets sad, that really endears him to me.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I don't buy it because Aaron is no longer in the fan page group, and I don't think it's because he's so happy with it, okay? I still want to know the story behind that.
I love this story. Okay, we've got a couple of things to talk about airplanes. And we'll start with Aaron's story about the guy on the plane with the stinky feet. Oh, my gosh. That would be pretty rough. But it is Thanksgiving Day right now while we're recording this. And how can I not liken this to the infamous Del Griffith from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The amazing, brilliant John Candy. Although, if we back up in our Nateland a few episodes, we will remember that he has been mentioned and Aaron doesn't really know him. So I'm sure he didn't put that together.
I am very sorry that I checked out during that, but I'm sure it was funny.
Oh, it was something. I don't know if funny was the
airplanes.
John
I think
Candy.
that's why you can't fly a cheap airline. That's what you get people taking their shoes off on the Spirit flights, you know.
I don't know. I think you just never know what's going to happen in the skies.
Well, as Dusty pointed out, I never had that problem on Delta. Maybe Brian's sitting in the back, but I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. That was, again, I don't know how these things happen to him that are so breakfast. But that was amazing. So Brian, traveling with Leanne, gets scooted.
Bumped. He gets bumped.
I don't know if you realize this, but she's a famous comedian.
Are you telling us?
That's what they said to him.
Oh, no, I know, but it just seemed like you were telling us just now.
Sometimes whenever I act, it's viable.
It's what?
Viable. Sometimes I pull it off, my acting.
Okay, I thought you said viable or Bible. Sometimes when I act, it's Bible. Which also reminds me of when Nate said he was working on new material, but somebody in the fan page thought it was nude material.
I missed that.
And that's my favorite thing that's happened. I hadn't even watched the episode yet when I saw that comment go up where somebody said I might be selling my tickets to Nate's show. Heard he's working on nude material. And so I said, his nude material is my favorite stuff. And then somebody commented and was like, I'm concerned that the ads are dropping. And I commented, I heard it was because of the nude material. But like only a handful of people got it, you know?
Yeah. I missed this whole thing though.
Oh man, we have some laughs.
Yeah.
I think I commented on that same one, something to the effect that Bates will use his lottery winnings to, keep the show going. I got so many likes on that comment. I thought it was such a throwaway thing, but it was nice to, get a little recognition.
Oh, it's just so good because it's so true. It made me think of when they sat down to talk about this episode, and you can just get a glimpse into like the behind the scenes world of their dynamics.
Yeah.
Because they sit down and they're like, okay, well, we're talking about the World Cup, and Nate's like, wait, we're talking about the World Cup? He's like, well, yeah, downstairs. And Nate was like, well, I just mentioned we should talk about it, like, for some conversation. And Brian's like, well, I kept saying we were going to, it would come up. So it's like...
We're definitely going to talk about it later upstairs.
I wonder how... There had to have been a significant amount of time that passed for him to, like, do the research and stuff. Because he always brings that. But it sounded like it just happened 10 minutes ago, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I took it that way too, and I thought, well, he's got an awful lot of, info.
Maybe he walks around like a lawyer, with these foldable file folders full of topics.
Right
Accordion.
Accordion.
And he's sitting down there and he's listening to the conversation, and Nate's like, maybe we should talk about the World, and he's like, shh, World Cup, I've got it.
Right.
And then Nate's like, nah, I'm thinking maybe we should talk about the history of Thanksgiving. And he's like, oh. It's great. It's a great bit in my head.
Before we get too far away from what I was talking about, the lottery thing, Brandi, I had hoped you'd have the costume from the Chinese lottery winner.
Oh!
Whoa. I will be honest,
Dang.
I have been a little under the weather this week, so I'm not on my A game with costumes, but I will not let you down again, Eric.
She's wearing a soccer uniform.
I am wearing a soccer shirt.
Oh, I thought it was a uniform.
Well, I mean, it might be. I don't know. I don't know a lot about soccer.
That
they
costume.
They don't wear dangly earrings. I know that.
No, or polka dotted, or lipsticks. Maybe they do nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah.
The costume was very funny. I loved when they said he did it so that his family wouldn't become lazy, and that's like going to the gas station to drink a Coke and not bringing it home for the rest of your family.
Yeah.
I also pictured somebody, like, I was thinking it, and then I think Dusty said it or somebody. They were like, I wonder what he did with that costume so his family wouldn't find out he was the guy who won. And in my mind, I'm picturing him like digging a hole in the middle of the woods with his headlights shining on it. His like work sleeves are all rolled up, and he's burying it.
Or like Dusty said, it was in the garage.
Yeah. One day his kids find it when he's old and sick. And they're
a
like,
bunch of like gold bars. Gold bars under a tarp.
That's good stuff.
I took a few notes, and I don't remember. I think Brian said this. Very inappropriate.
Yes, he did.
Two
Yes,
dudes,
he
one
did.
cup.
I was so shocked that he made that joke. Like, I was like, breakfast? And if you don't get the reference, it's okay, people, because it's not great. And please don't look anything up.
Do zero research on that one.
Yeah. But I texted my friend who we talk about the podcast every week, And I was like, did you catch Brian's dirty joke? And he said, oh, yeah. And I saw Aaron shaking his head. And I'm like, what world are we in where Brian makes the dirty joke and Aaron's like, can't believe this guy.
Let's swing all the way back around to where Nate
To
said,
church.
quote, he said, be nice is the ultimate thing.
I didn't write
I
that
guess
down.
it's okay.
Oh, it's not as good as the dirty joke.
No. But it
it's
is
not
good.
A scandal or an animal.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm learning.
I also made a note of how much time Nate spent looking off camera to get validation for the things he was talking about. Someone over there knows an awful lot about soccer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was good
now,
because
Brian made me laugh. He said that somebody made the comment about, I don't remember who made the comment, about somebody out there knowing more about the topic.
we should come sit at the table.
And Brian said, well, that's usually the case.
Right.
That's funny. I remember when they said, you should come sit in here.
Yeah.
Which was, I think it was Aaron, and I thought that would be okay. Anyway, so that was supposed to be funny, but then nobody laughed at it, so it just sounded mean. I'm sorry.
Somebody make me a t-shirt with the best Dusty Slay quote of the week, please.
Oh, I know what the best Dusty Slay quote of the week is.
Let's hear it.
Ain't nothing but some voodoo.
That's
it. No, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, you don't have to be in church to find God, and you don't have to be a witch to find God in nature. That was really good.
It was a great quote.
Somebody made a little meme of that and posted it not long ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have not seen this.
There was a lively discussion in the comments. It's some good church folk talk. And somebody pointed out how much they admired Dusty for standing his ground, which I admire as well, especially when it's very silly about Harry Potter and him and Aaron going back and forth. So, like, we all know they're best friends, right? Dusty was his best man at his wedding. But people still, to this day, are posting in the group. Someone posted this week, I was worried about Aaron and Dusty's friendship. Do you think they're going to make it? And I just put, I was so afraid. It's like, people sometimes take it too serious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I did love that quote. It was really good. I definitely could, like, a ton of scripture backs that up. I love, like, I've had to pull over before because of sunset. That may not speak to everybody, but it does to me. I've had to pull over before because it has literally taken my breath away.
I thought you were about to say it literally spoke to you. I was like, Brandi, nature doesn't, I don't think it's supposed to talk to you.
Even the rocks
that
will
might
cry
not
out,
be
Jen.
God.
Even the rocks will cry out.
It might be drugs.
Coffee.
All right. Soccer. Guys, soccer. We're here for soccer.
Oh.
So I just want to give you a recap on the, we got some bad news Bates. People died at a soccer game, blah, blah, blah. Nobody can pronounce Qatar, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Tour de France made it in there somehow. Something about tournaments, famous soccer players, and this is where I tune back in. I don't know about you, Eric. If you got anything on the soccer talk,
I do not.
I loved who's the most famous American soccer player, and they're like,
oh, David Beckham, huh?
What about the guy from England?
Oh, and I just said it. That just shows I did not even pay attention.
Yeah.
I looked at the notes and it was written in there, and I was like,
and
yeah, that makes sense.
The redheaded one. The red. Yeah,
Who's
it
that?
was funny.
Ronald McDonald?
I don't know. This emphasizes my understanding and view of soccer, like that.
Yeah,
conversation.
There's only two soccer players I know: David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. And so when they brought him up, I was dying laughing because Nate was like, he is just a beautiful man. he's everything. And then they like found out he had so much plastic surgery, which I did not expect. But I loved it. They were like, who's hotter, Cristiano Ronaldo or Ken? You know, the Ken doll. They're both made of plastic. You know,
they said who else is the most famous, and Nate said Mia Hamm. I've heard that name, Mia Hamm.
I don't know who that is.
And I thought of Brandi Chastain.
It's John Hamm's sister.
Oh,
really?
No, I don't
know. Oh gosh, I can't believe I fell for that. I do love John Hamm though. He is a beautiful man.
You guys don't know Pele? I grew up on Pele.
I've heard the name for sure.
I didn't grow up on Pele. That's the soccer player we all knew.
You know what just popped into my head? Pele! But it's Mayday!
Okay. All
it's
right.
That's what I know.
That's what you got, Jen.
An important distinction in times of distress.
I'm gonna be on a plane someday. Pele!
And then he'll
show
up.
Be like, we don't. No, you have to say it 3 times.
Right, yeah.
In the mirror.
Oh, like Beetlejuice.
Then he appears, which also made me think of when they were talking about Dusty and like, you know how people say the stupid jokes like, I am Dusty. Oh, no, you're not. Yeah.
Right.
And they said, they were talking about, isn't dust just skin cells? And Brian said something like, you know, if you're gone from your house for a month, you come back, it's still dusty. Dust is in there, or Dusty's in there. And it just, my brain automatically was picturing myself coming home and Dusty Slay being in my house. And he's just like, oh, hey man, you know, I kept it clean for you.
When you said it, I pictured him with like a little apron vacuuming.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of vacuums, this might not be the time for it, but I'm going to do it. So I got to decide on this vacuum deal for tomorrow because it's Black Friday. And it is a robot vacuum that also mops. Well, my question is, do you think that it can tell the difference between your hard floor and like your rug? Or will it just mop my rug? You know? What do you guys think?
Somebody has to have thought of that.
Right? That's
probably.
I also think that's why they put reviews online. Am I right, Review King?
I would think
Review King.
When they were designing a machine to vacuum and mop, the distinction between hard floor and carpeting was probably the main thing that they talked about.
Yeah.
It came up in a meeting.
Thanks for talking down to me like I'm 5. This segues nicely in. No, it's okay. I loved it. This segues nicely into Dusty's nickname, Messy Slay. I don't know if you remember that part. All I thought of was, I can't believe my friend who listens to this hasn't already texted me and given me that nickname, because I will like just destroy, like it's just stuff everywhere. So
my brother's name is Dusty.
Oh.
And I can remember when he was very little and he would get all bent out of shape about something. My mom would be like, Fussy Dusty.
I would imagine Musty Dusty would be one you don't want to hear.
A little fussy sometimes, you know, we all do.
That just makes me remember Waster Baster.
So this is a joke from old Folkland. This was what Chad.
It was Chad. When they would, as
Chad's mom would call him that. Yeah, she would call him that if he wasted food or something. Huh?
Yeah, if they didn't clean their plate, they were a
So it made me laugh so much because all I could think of was waster, master, baster.
Right.
Which is a very tricky thing to say.
Yeah, it is. I can see where you might get yourself into some trouble real quick.
Enunciate.
Yes.
Enunciate.
All right, so
why do athletes make so much money? Or whatever you were going to say, Brandi.
I was going to say, why don't we dive into some breakfast bites?
That's good. Those are tasty.
All right. Tasty breakfast bites including Broham, baking soda, bread basket, Boomer, baby teeth, Bozo, and what was the one you added that you already said? I really liked it.
Who?
Big Bucks Bates.
Big Bucks Bates.
I picture him, and I'm sorry to say he's wearing a pimp hat whenever I hear that one.
Oh, a Monopoly guy hat, for sure. But in the podcast, they said full head of hair. I'm not giving him hair. I still want him bald, and I want that fur coat on. Like, you guys, Seinfeld. Like David Putty, the episode where he wore a fur coat. I'm picturing that. I really liked, what the most interesting part of the whole soccer talk and stuff that I found was when they started talking about the Escobar murder. Because I've heard Pablo Escobar before, and I like history like that. And I died laughing because Nate just zoned out and was like, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And Brian was like, I put this in here just for you because I thought you would find it interesting. But then they recapped it. And even though I didn't zone out, I really appreciated it was like better the second time. Don't you think, Brandi?
Yeah, what?
All right. So what I was saying, my favorite part of the episode was when they talked about the Escobar murder and then Nate zoned out complete. All right.
So... I can say, honestly, I also appreciate a good recap.
A good review is never a wrong thing. Okay, you ready for my real favorite part of the episode? This is it. There's nothing left after this. This is the last thing I got, folks.
Okay.
At the very end, when they're talking about bringing the World Cup to Nashville, and Nate says, "Hello, I'm Nate Bargatze. I would like you to bring the World Cup to Nashville. Come, Nashville is very good. Join us, or else you have 24 hours." I started thinking, I want to talk to everybody like that all the time.
With such authority.
Brandi, you let me read the next rundown, or you are dead. You have 24 hours to decide.
I'm shaking in my bear slippers.
Or I'm going to start my own podcast and take JC with me.
I get JC.
It'll be called Bearland. That could be so wrong.
You'll barely make it.
Bearland. We really bear it all. All right, folks. I think we've expired. I think that that this is the end. And
can I say one last thing?
Of course.
All right.
I don't know. Does this have a time? Does this cut off after a certain time?
No. We could go for days.
Leave that in. This is like the one thing that I wrote down ahead of time to prepare myself to be on here. Okay. Looking back at past guests, I wrote, I can't really compare with Pergellum on his charm or his height. I can't compete with Sarah Chia on her intelligence. I can't compare with Jesse Rothhacker on his own self-proclaimed wisdom beyond his years. And I can't compare with Kerr Smith on his talent. So I was hoping to outdress them.
Oh.
Best dressed of Folkland, Eric T. Peterson. There you are.
Well, sure.
Thank you.
Here's your prize.
Yes.
And
I'll make it myself.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna send it to you anyway.
I appreciate it.
There's a coffee. I'm gonna wash it. There's a coffee ring in it, but I'm gonna wash
it's used.
I told you I was drinking out of this one. I was drinking out of this one. I had to see which one I liked more. There's a crack in this one, so I thought I would keep the crack, so you didn't have to have crack.
Because crack grows on you. I understand.
Yeah.
JC, we missed you. Eric, we appreciated having you. And
thanks
folks, we hope that you have a great kickoff to your holiday season.
Kickoff.
And you should. Well, it's football, huh?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
you should follow us on social media. What's our name, Brandi?
Folkland Podcast.
Folkland
There's an
Podcast.
underscore in there. Folkland _ podcast on Instagram. And of course, the show is on YouTube. You know that because you're watching us there. We would love and value to have your comments and your shares and your subscriptions. Thank you.
We would like more than just Matt Organ's comments. They're great, but they're just not enough.
I miss them.
Some substance in the comments section would be nice.
Yeah. All right, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye, folks.